Thank you for being present tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Klinkler. And now I turn it over to Ms. Carrie Whitty from VA.
Good evening, and thank you for coming. On behalf of the regional office, welcome. I have several of my employees here today and are very excited to be here and to listen to your concerns and more importantly to help you. They are here to find out what we haven't done to meet your needs and to resolve that. And so if you have an issue with us and if you haven't seen one of our employees already, we will connect you with someone that will help you. Just before we open up the forum to some questions, let me just cover some highlights in VBA. We have been working very hard in making a lot of accomplishments in the last 2 years in terms of service to veterans. We have reduced our backlog of claims pending 60%, so we've cut that in more than half. At the same time, our quality has increased to 96%. Overall, veterans are waiting about 100 days less today than they were 2 years ago for a decision on the claim. We have more work coming in today than we did in years past. Our receipts of new claims is increasing. However, so are the number of claims that were completed. And so as new claims are increasing, so too are the number of claims that we're able to complete and decisions made for veterans. So we do have a lot of work. We are making great strides. This year in particular, we have a goal to eliminate the backlog. So we've cut it 60%. We have approximately 15,000 claims still considered backlog that are pending more than 125 days. And our goal by the end of this year is to eliminate that. And so we are working very aggressively toward that goal. And we are confident that we're going to get there. That said, we know that we have a lot more work ahead of us, and well over 60% of our workforce are veterans, and so for the most part we have veterans working for veterans, and we're very proud of that. My employees work very hard for you, and like I mentioned, a lot of them are here today and are here to listen to your concerns. The purpose of this is to hear what we're doing well, more importantly what we need to improve in, and to resolve whatever individual concerns you have about your claim or appeal or whatever your issue is. That's why we're here tonight, and I thank you for coming, and I look forward to answering some of your questions tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Whitty. How we will do this to make sure it's organized and give you all the most fair chance possible to speak, whether it's asking questions or sharing your story. We have Stella and we have Bruce. If Stella can stand up and Bruce you stand up. These two individuals have microphones, and so what we'd like to do is have them come out to you by a raise of hands. If you let us know who has a question or comment, they'll come to you, and that's the way we'll be able to take turns. Again, please be cognizant of sensitive information. Try to keep more personal information for those individual conversations that you'll have hopefully afterwards. That being said, I think we can get right into it. So we have Stella, we have Bruce. Do I have questions or comments in the room? If I could start with you.
Good afternoon. My name is Annie Hodges Robinson. I'm a retired Army vet. When you were saying first that how you're working very hard to reduce the amount of claims, being said that was said about 4 years ago. And as soon as that was said, I got a notice stated my claim was denied, and found out that they did not even look at my claim at all. When I had my doctor to write several notices about my situation, and it should have been approved when they did not even look at the remaining of my case that they should have. And when I reapplied again, they still denied it again. And my doctor kept writing more and more letters. I got a letter just dated February the 2nd, and they said they don't know why I went to a hearing. They sent me a letter stated 3 things. Because of my age, do they want it to be expedited? Am I losing my house? Am I dying? My doctor wrote a letter. I sent that forward, and I asked my case manager. I sent them letters after letters after letters. I got all of these paperwork that I sent from my doctor, and it seemed like he said that it should have been applied. I just got out of rehab from having my 4th surgery on my knee. And they said that they are reopening my case from my knee, but it should have been approved 60 years ago, and they didn't do anything about it. When the doctor said that I should have been 100% approved, and I have been applying. I have even sent a congressional, and when they did the congressional, they pulled my case, and when they put it back, they put it back all the way to the bottom instead of putting it back where they found it at. And it is to the point that I'm not the only one that they doing cases this way. There are several other veterans that they doing that too. And it's right now that it's like they want to know now, why did I apply? They don't know why did I apply. It's stated the reason why I applied. And I've been applying after applying. And I just need some help in getting my case approved. The doctor said it should have been approved several years ago. I initially applied April 8, 1998. And I just need some help in getting this done. And I have all my papers, my letters, my service letters of when I got injured on active duty. And there's a lot of things that I cannot do. I am totally and permanently disabled right now. And it just hurts that I cannot do the things that I want to do because of what the military had did to me. And now they cannot even honor me by increasing my rating. They only give me more and more heartaches. And it's just hurt with the way they are treating me and other veterans for serving our country. And I just need some help in getting this done. And for somebody to understand what they are doing and not just trying to get their caseload down, but to get our case answered. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Robinson, for sharing those comments. I am very sorry that you've had the experience that you have for so many years, and you come here tonight very frustrated. Have you worked with one of my workers here tonight so far? Or?
There's one lady that did, and she came to see me.
Is anybody working with Mrs. Robinson? Oh, okay. We have your contact information. I will pass. Give us a chance to fix this starting tonight. Lucille will have your information, and we will get an answer to you by the end of the week. But again, I'm very sorry for your experiences.
Gentlemen, right back here.
Yes, my name is Albert George. I've been waiting 8 years, 11 months, and 3 days for my VA case. I've been to Washington to 3 of the Veterans of Affairs Committee, talked to Jeff Miller, talked to Deputy Secretary Mr. Sloan, and then Beth McCoy up in Washington. It's really frustrating. I mean, I'm losing my house. I tried for Title 31 retraining. They're denying me that because of my problems with my disability. I came to Bay Pines for medical treatment. I told them that I was allergic. I can sit down. I told them I was allergic to penicillin. They proceeded to give me an antibiotic with penicillin. I passed out for about 5 hours, and then all they do is just wheel you out and wheel you out to your car because I needed a wheelchair. And then I went over to the Tampa hospital, the podiatry, and then I proceeded to collapse, and they put me in the hospital for 3 days. I'm just really frustrated with the judge sending the case back down. The judge ordered a psychiatrist, and you send a psychologist, and then they ordered a doctor, and then you give a nurse practitioner. And then this last time it was remanded back, my doctor provided all the documentation of my condition and that, and how it affects my diabetes. And they said they want all the records. They need a new release of information for records because it took them so long to move the case forward. And in the interim, I mean, not just me, there's other vets. I have to give compliments to Jeff Miller and the way I call him Bulldog Miller at the Veterans of Affairs Committee about how he's started working on our cases and having you guys accountable. We have a low esteem for your ability on getting things done. I was paying for all my PTS medication on the outside until I went up to Washington because you only gave out formulary, and finally they're giving me Abilify and Xanax on the outside. The interim I've been paying up to $150 a month for my medication, and we're just tired. I want answers. 8 years, 11 months, and 3 days. This lady over here waiting 98. I mean, and then you have nobody that you can call to answer your case. If I get a car wreck and stuff like that, I'd have a claim adjuster that I could call. You have nobody that you call, and you get the same pattern answers from your call center. And if your representative, Bill Nelson, if I call Bill Nelson one more time, he calls the Washington, D.C. police on me because they can't get the answers there, and I'm bugging him because he's my representative. And they've been firing chiefs and stuff, and if you guys aren't doing your job, you need to just resign and get the answers done. I mean, it's ridiculous. I'm going to see Comp and Penn. This is the 5th time to see Comp and Penn. My case has been remanded 4 times from the judge. It's unconscionable. And I'll let somebody else speak. They can express their opinion too.
Any comments from the panel?
Thank you, sir. I did not catch your last name. Could you spell it for me?
Dort, D-O-R-T.
I spelled it correctly. Thank you. Well, first, thank you for your service to our country. You mentioned some concerns with your health care at Bay Pines, and I want to make sure that we address those regarding your allergy, as well as your care and your ongoing need for medications. Have you engaged a patient advocate in the past?
Yes, I did. The advocate, they said they couldn't do anything about it. My biggest concern is you pushing people out of the emergency room because you need a bed, and you're not checking to make sure that they have a safe way home and that they are capable of being able to drive the vehicle. I drove my vehicle all the way over there, and if I got into a wreck or killed somebody, I would have been feeling really bad about it. And then I had to go to the Tampa hospital, and then podiatry, and I collapsed, and they put me in the hospital for 3 days. And I was left in your complete care. When I went ahead and went under and I had the reaction, and they gave me the Benadryl, I don't know what happened for 4 hours. And nothing happened to the doctor, nothing happened to anybody. And anybody that goes to the advocates here, it just goes in one ear and out. What you really need is a board here of 7 people that are veterans, including some officers, that can work with the advocate and stuff like that, that can get some input to you. It's an all one-sided system, and it's unfair.
I agree with you.
I appreciate your willingness to share your comments with us. I will share that a number of the staff in our patient advocate office are veterans, and as Ms. Whitty had indicated, Bay Pines also has a large number of veterans committed to our mission of serving veterans. Let me have an opportunity to look into your concerns with your health care and follow up with you about specifics.
Thank you.
And Mr. Dort, you and I talked briefly before the town hall, and John is going to look into why your appeal's been pending so long. I can't speak for the actions of the Board of Veterans Appeals, but we can look and see why they've remanded it 4 times, and let's get it right. And so you have my commitment tonight that we will work with you and try to resolve it for once and for all.
Well, I'll let Jeff Miller and your boss, Beth McCoy, know what happens here.
Mr. Sherman in the back, I saw your hand raised.
How are you doing? My name is Jeffrey Sherman. That's R-E-Y. I'm going to remain seated. Miss Carrie Whitty, I would like to bring it to your attention that I have a signed document for one of your secretaries that lying is common in your building. Lying is common in your building. There's no quality to that. There's no integrity to that. So once integrity is gone, the care is out of there. Next, I would like to say is on the 25th of July, I was on the corner by Wawa. You and your staff, TJ and Gina, tried to have me falsely arrested. Mr. Moderator, Doctor, I'm sorry I don't remember your name, but I started showing you that. I challenge anybody up there on the board right there. I got a booklet right here that you can see. I have it all written down. I've been through 2 illegal hearings with no representation, and can't find anybody from the DAV or American Legion that wasn't even there because it never happened. Mr. Jolly and I are still waiting for the minutes to that hearing. They don't exist. Okay? Getting back to the 911 calls, I was called a lazy veteran. TJ stated he was a war hero with a job. So therefore, I followed him into Wawa, took out my phone, and started taking pictures of a war hero. I've never ever had a veteran come up to me and say that he's a war hero. If he did, he's a liar. Then what ended up happening is I got the tape from the 911, and the girl Gina came out and threatened to kick my ASS, will not use a bad word. And that's what she said to me. And it just so happened that 7 police officers, which I hired 2 sheriffs in the back to make myself feel comfortable here, because nobody in here is wanted. Okay? And there's been a shooting in Fort Bliss, Texas, if you know. But anyway, in reference to your QTC program, that is nothing but a farce. Miss Whitty, I am so glad that you changed the volume, the way that you do your hearings, because when the judge didn't want to hear what I was saying, he would turn it down. And then when he wanted to hear it, he would turn it up. He was treating me like Johnny Donut. My name is Jeffrey Sherman, and that's R-E-Y. I've been over to eligibility 3 times, and you still, And Ms. Clinker, you remember the meeting that you and I had, and the 3 IDs are still misspelled. I had to get a tattoo on my arm with my social security number. God forbid I had to come to your emergency room. The last time that I talked to you, when you had that problem in the ER in reference to the people dying in the parking lot, you took those signs down in reference if you had heart pain or anything, and now you put them up. And that is really good that you put them up. But it just shows a person like me that you're a risk taker with Veterans Health, that you put them back up. They should have never been taken down. Okay, just bear with me. Then, Miss Whitty, I've been here. I was here Monday. Of course, you know I was here Monday. And your employees stated to me that they see fraud every day. I have turned in people's names for 5 fake Purple Hearts that these gentlemen are wearing. I've also turned in 2 fake Bronze Stars. Your staff told me that not everybody's honest. That's not quality. That's not integrity. Okay? Now, I have it in writing, Ms. Whitty, have lied to federal government officials in reference to my health. I have it. I challenge you to look at it. You've already seen it. The last time that I was at the town hall meeting, you said, well, at least they got my name right. So you know that it exists. And then, of course, the minutes to my hearing that me and Mr. Jolly are still waiting on that don't exist. We've been waiting a long, long time. And I got some crazy letters that you're going to omit stuff and stuff. I wasn't in Atlanta when they had that hearing. And if you know it, that I am a VA OIG whistleblower from Atlanta. Ms. Clinker, if you call Leslie Wiggins and talk to her, did you?
I had email correspondence with Mr. Sherman,
Okay,
as well as with the Office of Inspector General
Okay.
after the first town hall meeting and the additional information
Okay.
that you shared with me.
Yes, ma'am. So what happened basically in Atlanta, if somebody was checked into your hospital today and their parents were calling for them and you found them dead the next day in an employee-locked bathroom, would you fire anybody? Leslie Wiggins fired nobody. Do you know that everybody in this building, we couldn't carry out the box to fire one of your employees? All of us couldn't even pick up that box. I don't care, we had a tow motor. But anyway, the things that bother me are the integrity issues, okay? And me being lied on, and me being threatened by your people. And getting back that 911 call, Mr. Jolly's little town hall meeting that he had, I met Officer Wilson. He looked at all the fraud on my case, and there is a God, because he's the first officer that was on the scene. And he said, stand down, I know Mr. Sherman personally. And after talking to him, and he knew that it was fraud, there are over 590 calls that the VA has made on veterans. 90% of them are fraudulent calls. Imagine.
And Mr. Sherman, what I'd like to do, because there's a lot of information you shared, I'd like to first get the panel's reaction, and I know Mr. Peeples also had some questions and comments, so if it's okay with you, I'd like to see if there are some reactions from the panel, and then we might be able to transition, Mr. Peeples.
No problem, sir, and if you don't mind, if nobody else, I believe, maybe 4 of them believe in eye care. I would like to talk to you, but I would like personally to ask Ms. Whitty and Ms. Clinker to resign. You are not the first person or directors. Mr. Clark in Atlanta resigned when I asked him. A job is a job, and I'm sure you can get another one. Thank you very much. And every one of you veterans here, you should feel proud of yourself. Not many people, and I mean that, not many people can do what you've done. And I love every one of you. And here's a good friend of mine, Derek, my advocate, and all to you, Derek. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sherman. Mr. Peeples?
Thank you, Mr. Sherman. Thank you very much, veterans, for your service. As a fellow veteran, board members here today, I have two questions I want to actually ask both the board here today and also the audience, you the veterans. And this can also go for your spouse members and also other veterans' cases that you know personally. The first question I'd like to ask to the board this evening, Secretary Robert McDonald had recently gone before a congressional hearing in Washington, D.C. He had to testify before in Washington, which he stated, of course, as the veterans well know, that any employee that compromises the VA mission or the values of the VA, its eye care program, that those employees do need to resign. Now, of the board members that do sit up here this evening, I understand that there's only one veteran that sits on the board this evening. The question I want to ask the board is that of this eye care value, how many of you fully 110% abide by the VA eye care value? Please raise your hand if you abide by the VA eye care value, please. Thank you. To the veterans here this evening, I want to ask the same question to you all. I'd like the news media cameras to please look around this room here this evening. I want this video to be testimony to Secretary Robert McDonald hereby this day of February 25th, 2015, and also to the VA OIG, which I am a VA OIG whistleblower. I do not work for Congressman Jolly, and I'm an independent veteran advocate. I work with no veteran service organization. I help veterans. Is all I do as a retired vet. I swear Mr. Sherman's case away. They want to take him down from 60% to 30% November 1st to make this veteran go homeless over surgeries that he had back in 1996 of February. He was effectively rated with 100% rating. Everything that this veteran here said this evening is true and it is accurate. I commend that each and every one of you to look into what is online. And the question I want to ask you all here this evening, that the members are attending, based on the board members have basically risen their hands to attest here in front as a public hearing to you all that they abide 110% in everything they do at the VA to provide you the most excellent mission and the care and its values. Do you as the audience, the veterans, and also the family members of veterans or no other veterans cases, please raise your hand if any of these members that are serving on the board here this evening, if you feel that they have compromised the VA's core values, its mission eye care value. Please raise your hand, please. Please take a look around in this room. Board members of people in this room who will attest that if they know of a veteran's case or claim that you've compromised their eye care values. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Peeples. What I'd like to do is hand it over to the panel for any comments before we move on to the next veteran. If anything to share,
I'm sorry you feel that way. Absolutely. I embody the eye care values. I live it every day. I'm proud of serving veterans. I think we have our challenges, but we do a good job in serving our veterans and trying to address their needs. I'm sorry that we haven't been able to address the needs of Mr. Sherman. I apologize for the letter that you received where we incorrectly stated about your heart surgery. I apologize for that. It was a letter that was sent a couple of years ago. I don't know how to correct that for you other than to apologize.
I'm going to take it to apologize this week.
The Wawa incident, I wasn't there. I didn't see what happened. I apologize for that. If those were my employees that did that, I'm sorry about that.
Okay, I would just like to say that if you're going to keep these eye care signs up, would you please put your OIG score next to it? Because you didn't do good on the OIG. Like a restaurant, when I go into a restaurant, they have the scores there on their cleanliness and everything. So in Atlanta, I made them take all their signs and all their awards, healthcare second to none and all that kind of stuff. They took it all down. The only thing that was on the wall was President Obama and Shinseki, and I helped get rid of him too.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bruce, this gentleman right here will be after this gentleman.
Yeah, please. Yes, my name is Vasilis Margaris. I'm a retired Master Sergeant of the United States Army Reserves, Chapter 61, medical discharge. The Army discharged me with 82%, and a year later the VA gave me 100%. Since then, I'm fighting the VA for the totally and permanently. I have 8 letters from my civilian and VA doctors stating that my conditions, they're not going to get, they have no room to get any better, but only worse. I'm already 60 plus, and there is no room for improvement. However, the CMP is doing exactly what Mr. Weitzman from the veterans, Vietnam Veterans of America stated, delay, deny, till they die. It's exactly what this panel is doing and what the whole VA is doing. I don't know about the VA integrity, but I know about the Army integrity. That's the only integrity that I know, and I will die with it. Even if they like it, if they don't. My case is 5.5 years old. I was dead at Walter Reed 33 minutes for their medical problem, medical disintegrity, finally medical malpractice, and finally they kicked me out while I was filling up the paperwork to make such a medal. With over 20 years. In fact, they tried to get rid of me before I was filling for the 20 years. Is this called integrity?
No, sir.
No.
No.
No, it's
I
not.
have a comment for Ms. Klinker. That's my general situation, you know. I have also a comment with a question for Ms. Klinker. Ms. Klinker, I will read to you a letter that you sent me on the 7th January 2015. Dear Mr. Margaret, this letter is in the response to the speak to the director correspondence you submitted regarding your care at the Palm Harbor community-based outpatient clinic, CBOC. We're committed to providing the highest quality healthcare possible to veterans. And thank you for sharing your experience with us. Our staff contacted you on October 15, 2014 to discuss your concerns. Per your request, we're providing you with a written letter of explanation. Your medical record was reviewed by Dr. Daniel R. Kasperzik, Chief Medical Officer of the Northern CBOC. As discussed, your primary care provider, Dr. Luis Santos, has referred to our neurology service, and they have been monitoring you. According to your medical records, you did have an ischemic event that you were advised that both of the medication your private neurologist has prescribed, Namenta 10 milligrams and RSF 10 milligrams. By the way, these are the medication for Alzheimer's, which I'm taking through my civilian doctor. I asked the VA to prescribe me these medications for 2 reasons. First, because I cannot find it in the economy, and number 2, I don't want to drive to McGill to get this medication, because these medications here, I have to pay out of my pocket $100 to get it in the economy. That was the reason. I'm still getting this medication. Without this medication, you're not going to see me like this, you know. You will see me fly down. This Alzheimer's medication, man. In fact, I request your cardiology department, if this is true, what you're stating in your letter, and they said they have some reaction that it's not a risk to take this medication with my heart condition. My heart condition, do you know why this ischemic event that you mentioned here in your letter happened? I had the open heart surgery at Walter Reed, inside the Walter Reed, in October 2007. And when it happened at Walter Reed, right after the surgery, I had my first walk after the surgery. And I returned to my bed and died. I was dead for 33 minutes. The cardiology department blamed my AFib. They said that I have arrhythmias and that's why it happened. This was not the case. This was a lie, a real lie. And Walter Reed is, at least, I don't know about now, but back then was in the VA system. It's one of the VA clinics. The truth is that I had a catheter in 2012, exactly for the reason to find out what happened in 2007, October 2007 at Walter Reed. I found out that I have a blocked artery. A clot was formed after the surgery. The cardiology department failed to find it out. I clogged one of my arteries. And now I have one clogged artery. One of the three arteries is clogged. 100%.
And Mr. Alvarez, just to make sure that the board is able to address any specific questions, would you like to hear from Ms. Klinker to respond to some of the case?
Yes. That's the only concern that I think that I have to bring to your attention. The letter is dated January 7, 2015. And follow up with the further medical investigation.
Well, thank you for being here this evening and giving us the opportunity to respond.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's important that we have these forums and that we can have these dialogues, sir. From what I heard in your reading of the letter, Dr. Kasperzak or anyone from the Palm Harbor Community-Based Outpatient Clinic was not able to contact you. Is that correct? It sounds...
I never had any contact with them.
So it sounds like it would be a good opportunity to have clinical leadership sit with you and myself, if you would like, to have a discussion about your health care and be able to answer any questions you have and have a cardiology consult as well. Let me ask Dr. Trier, our Chief of Staff, who's our Chief Medical Officer, to add any comments she may have as well. Thank you for your service. Good morning, sir. Or good evening, sorry. I'm saying good morning. I think that the main message that I'm hearing from this letter response is the concerns for the safe prescribing of medications and the concern about any sort of negative interactions that might occur between the various medications that you're taking. There are some real concerns and some real dangers with the combination of certain medications, and especially for someone with a cardiac history, but for anyone
we always have that concern, but someone with cardiac history, it's important to know what each and every medication might or might not be doing to worsen your heart condition. So I agree with Ms. Clinker that I think sit down with your clinical team to understand exactly what the problems are with prescribing Aricept and Romantin and any of your cardiac medications. I can think of a few concerns that I would have, but your medical team would be the best ones to address that.
But I've been already cleared by the cardiologist at the VA, here at the Bay Pines. Doctor, I think the new cardiologist, Dr. Ball.
Dr. Ball is a
He
primary care
cleared
doctor.
this medication. I'm still staging, there's no problem. All I have to do is just walk to, drive to McDeal and come back. I'm still taking that.
Thank you.
I'm on Social Security, on Medicare, and Trigger, because I'm a retiree. And, by the way, the Social Security have been very much nicer than you guys. I got Social Security 6 months after I got to the cardiac arrest at the Walter Reed.
And sir, I wanted to clarify, do you have a claim pending or an appeal pending today? Or
Yes, I have a claim, increase of all my combat-related disabilities, and after that, totally impairment.
have you talked with someone here tonight about your claim yet?
I talked with Greg.
Right? Oh, great, right, okay.
Right.
And so we have your contact information, and we'll look into what the delays and get back to you. I apologize for any delays you've experienced.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, by the way, I already filled up a congressional with Honorable Bilirakis, and I received a phone call that if I'm not homeless or if I don't terminally ill, dying within two weeks, they cannot expedite my claim.
We will have your claim expedited. We will expedite your claim.
All right, thank you, man.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it.
And a gentleman here.
I hope in this lifetime, man.
My name is Ed Quirk, this is Mrs. Cleaner. I have issues here. I do know Dr. McGinn left about a month and a half ago, and I had no primary care doctor. And when I went into the mods, they tell me, well, wait until you see a doctor. If not, you go to Mod A. Or if not, go to the emergency room. Well, I took it in my own and I went to patient advocate. The patient advocate says, well, we expect a doctor in probably in the middle of March. That's not going to do me no good when I need a primary care doctor. And I have medical issues. The only other issue is that I applied for that Veterans Choice Program because I have back problems. And they have an appointment for me for April 7th. And they have all the paperwork up out in California, but there's no release here from Bay Pines. My other issue is I had surgery done in November of 2013 on my left shoulder. It didn't work out, and they went in again in May of 14 and did a complete replacement on my shoulder. I went in for physical therapy, and they discharged me. I'm trying to get physical therapy, and I am paying for outside physical therapy now at $120 for a session out of my own pocket. So I'd like to have something done about this.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for bringing that to our attention, Sue. Could you spell your last name for me so I make sure I can follow up?
Q-U-I-R-K-E. I sent you a letter.
Thank you, sir. And your letter detailed the same concerns? Okay, very good. With your primary care concerns?
I got a primary care. I went to Congressman Jolly and we got it straightened out. Tomorrow morning I see my new primary care doctor.
Terrific. And you have an appointment in the community with the Choice Program on April 7th.
April 7th, it's on April 7th, not in the outside, but over here, with pain clinic management.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Right now, I'm on painkillers.
And I understand that you have concern about paying for physical therapy in the community because you're not receiving that here.
I'm not receiving it here, no.
Have any of your providers done a consult for physical therapy?
I'm going to address my primary care doctor tomorrow.
Okay.
But I want you to get after pain management and have them release the paperwork so I can have it done outside.
Well, we'll follow up on that, and if you could follow up with us tomorrow after your appointment, I would appreciate that.
Now, do you want me to go up to your office?
You can give us a call,
Okay.
or if you'd like to come up, please do. I can't speak to my schedule right now, but I think as many in the audience know, I have an open policy.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. And this gentleman with black ball cap on. First you, sir, and then you, sir, and then a gentleman with the blue shirt on. We'll try to get you third then.
Hello, board members and fellow veterans. My name is D. James Dawes, Delta Alpha Whiskey Echo Sierra. I'm a retired Army veteran, and I'm also a Tampa VA employee. And I see things from two perspectives. And from those perspectives that I see, I wanted to address a few things. One of the things that I came here to discuss is the concerns with the e-benefits access. And although I know there's improvements to the e-benefits, there are some improvements that still need to be done. One of the things is when veterans submit a claim and they get an award on that claim, as far as I know, e-benefits, there's no access to the award letter. You have to wait for it to be mailed to you. I would think that something as small as that should be able to be fixed so that if I don't get the letter in the mail, I can go on e-benefits and I can look and see what the award is or what the status of it is. The other issue is retroactive pay for an approved award. I understand as a VA employee that, we're asked to do so much more with less. But the bottom line is the veteran. Many veterans don't have time to wait a year. I'll tell you what I mean by that. I received an award from the VA in DFAS. Within 30 days, DFAS reconciled the retroactive pay. I've been waiting for 9 months from the VA to reconcile it. Now, I will tell you this. I've called, like many veterans call it, the 800 number, and many times you have to wait 30 minutes, an hour to get a response. We have to do a better job answering our veterans. I also came here on the 19th or 21st of January personally to see a counselor with respect to getting information on the retroactive pay, and she could not tell me anything. Now, I'll also say this. With respect to the retroactive pay, what's happening is when DFAS does an audit, after their audit, they submit it to the regional office. All of the information is there. It should not take that long unless the technology is not improved to give the veteran some information instead of saying, we don't know how long it can take up to a year. The reason why I'm concerned is because many of the veterans that I service as a veteran employee don't live to see the retroactive pay. And it's disheartening to the family members that they wait so long and they get an approval and then they have to wait so long for the retroactive payment. There has to be a better way to do this, and also through e-benefits, I should be able to go into e-benefits and see the status of the retroactive pay. I'm not able to do that, and if there is a way, I hope someone can educate me on trying to find that out, because what it does is it minimizes the amount of calls that you receive from the veteran, and the veteran is able to access his or her own information. The other thing that I wanted to discuss is I applied for a service connection for PTSD. I received the award in 2013. I was my understanding that when that award came through, they would also address the depression that has accompanied the PTSD. That was not addressed, so my VSO and my VA doctor advised me to submit for depression. Well, I learned today, and I have to look into it, that it was denied because the depression, there's no proof that the depression is a result of military service. I have a problem with that. Many of you veterans that have served in war, in combat, who have PTSD, I guarantee you have depression that accompanies the PTSD. And I have the doctor's statements here that talks all about the depressive disorder. Now, I'm a social work major. I'm working on my master's, and I do know a little bit about psychotherapy and evidence-based psychotherapy. And if this is the case, for a doctor to suggest that the depression has nothing to do with military service, I would submit to you that perhaps that doctor did not look at all of these records. And I know what I'm talking about because the VA is under strength. Everybody is rushing to get things done, and it's at the cost of the veteran. And so we have to do a better job for our veterans. I love my job at the VA. I know there are many VA employees that are working hard, but we have to do better. And the last thing that I wanted to say is that with respect to many of the veterans here, many of them are discouraged. And the reason why they're discouraged is because they have served their country.
Right.
Some of them have seen their friends die for this country. And that's all.